Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is the mark draweth nigh. By the way, it is summertime, which is a slow time for us. And if God has blessed you and you can help us, we would really appreciate it. Now would be a really good time. United Nations orders banks worldwide to make, now it says made, but it actually means make, digital IDs mandatory for all customers. Let me read it again. United Nations orders. The United Nations orders? Okay. That's a world government. The United Nations orders banks worldwide to make digital IDs mandatory for all customers. I know that sounds like prophecy, but that's actually dated June 18th. The United Nations has ordered banks worldwide to begin issuing mandatory digital IDs to all customers and to refuse service to anybody deemed non-compliant or blacklisted by the globalist organization. Now you remember, in Daniel chapter 2, and especially Daniel chapter 7, and then confirmed by Revelation 13, it says we're coming to a world government. And that world government is going to take the 7 continents and divide them into 10 global regions. Then there will be an 11th guy come up that will overcome 3 of the other people, and that's the Antichrist. Now, we have 3 different people that say that the Lord has told them that the tribulation has started. And I have to say that there have been some things take place that would normally take place if the tribulation started. But I also have to say there's been some things that the Bible says should have taken place that have not taken place. And one of them is a world government. Yes, I'll agree a world government is very close, as this article is talking about. But it hasn't arrived yet. But this is telling us it's certainly planned. And by the way, the evil bankers didn't come up with this idea for world government. For God has put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their power and strength unto the beast till the words of God should be fulfilled. That's 2 verses kind of merged together there. But essentially, it says that God put in these evil people's hearts to form a world government. Why? Well, their purpose is to put their man, the Antichrist, on the throne. But God's purpose is to unite all of the evil people under one name, and then they all come down to attack little Israel. The Bible says, I saw the beast, and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered to make war against him that sat on the horse and his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet which wrought miracles before them, which with which he deceived them that had received the mark, and those that worshipped his image. And the remnant was slain by the sword of him that sat on the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. That's Armageddon. That's all the nations bringing all of their armies, everything they can possibly throw at Israel. And the Bible says, matter of fact, I just read it a few days ago, that even though the whole world comes down to attack Israel, they will not be successful, because Jesus returns in the clouds and defeats the armies of the earth with the morning star in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. Okay, so let's go on with the article. United Nations orders banks worldwide to make digital IDs mandatory for all customers. This, we believe, the thing to the right is the mark of the beast. The symbol to the left, we believe, will be the number of his name, or 666. The article goes on to say, the plan is outlined in 3 new policy briefs from the UN entitled, A Global Digital Compact, Reforms to the International Financial Architecture. And now look at this, look at this, look at this. Look at these words. The future of outer space governance. What? What did it say? The future of outer space governance. Didn't that just say that something that is not from Earth is going to be ruling the Earth? Is that a hint that the Antichrist is going to not be exactly 100% human, just like we've been talking about for years and years and years? Let's go on. This might be what it looks like. Mark of the beast to the right, number of his name to the left. Continuing with the article. The goal of the briefs is to advance UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres' vision for the future and Klaus Schwab's plan for a great reset by the year 2030. Now, let me just tell you, it don't make 2030. I think it's going to arrive a long time before 2030. But it goes on to say, it's titled Our Common Agenda, Guterres' Draconian Plan should have been given the green light in September 2024. Now, that sounds more like it. During the event dubbed the Summit for the Future. From the report, digital IDs linked to the bank and mobile money accounts can improve the delivery of social protection coverage and serve to better reach eligible beneficiaries. The old saying says the devil is in the details, because they can put up a real pretty sign that says, oh, this is wonderful. And then when that actually comes down to the details, not so good. It goes on to say digital technologies may help to reduce leakage, errors, and costs in the design of social protection programs. Yep, they can do all that. But what they didn't tell you is this. They left out digital technologies can also stop any and all citizens from buying or selling unless they have the mark of the beast. They somehow missed that part. Next article. This is from the UN. Nearly 1 billion people have no official proof of identity. Oh no, isn't that terrible? 1 billion people can't be identified. Goes on to say, digital ID could play an important role in providing a legal form of ID that allows people to access key public or private services. What? They just said something real important. If you can read between the lines, well, let's read that last sentence. Digital ID could play an important role in providing a legal form of ID that allows people to access key public or private services. Anything the government gives, it can also take away. So if they give you something that gives you access to your money, guess what else? It can also take away access to your money. So the no man by buy or sell, save he had the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. Nearly 1 billion people have no official proof of identity. I think that's good. I'd like to get on a plane or a train and not have to identify myself like it used to be. Okay? Used to be you could just go to the airport, purchase a ticket, get on a plane and go. Not anymore. And without an official ID, they cannot access key public or private services. They are excluded from society. I didn't write that. This UN document said that. It says they're excluded from society. Or did it not say that? What does that mean, excluded from society? So they can't buy or sell, just like the Bible, what Revelation 13:15 said, written 2,000 years ago. And here these guys kind of finally coming up to figure it out. They are excluded from society and the digital economy. Are you listening? I think this would be a good time for you to call Cornerstone AssetMetals.com. Good time for you to say, okay, you have my attention. What do I need to do? Here's my situation. I got a little bit of money here, I got a little bit of money there, I got some this, I got some that. They know. You don't have to tell them what's coming. They know. They understand. And they'll say, well, based upon everything we know, this is what we're recommending. Let's go on. The article continues to say it might seem premature to talk about digital ID given that delivering traditional physical ID remains a challenge in the many parts of the world. But digital ID could play an important role in providing, by 2030, a legal form of ID to those without one. Oh yes, everybody needs to have a legal form of ID so everybody can be tracked and monitored. Now, who wants that? Well, not the people that don't have the digital ID. They prefer not to be in the system. Like me, I don't like, matter of fact, I go to a website. If it requires me to give them my email, requires me to give them my name, I just click away. I don't give it. I try to stay out of the system as much as possible. Matter of fact, I go to, say, Best Buy, and they want you to sign. I don't put my regular signature in any computer. I have a special symbol, and it's the same symbol every place. Like one guy says, well, the system is kicking out your signature. I felt like saying, because that's not my signature. But that is the same symbol that I put on all of my credit card, when I'm purchasing something. But they don't get my real signature. I don't put my real signature in any kind of a computer that I can keep it from. Okay, anyway. A legal form of ID to those without one. A target set by the Sustainable Development Goals. Oh yes, we've got to hit our Sustainable Development Goals. Almost 1 billion people lack legal and verifiable identity documents. Next article. Using your hand to pay? Oh, surely not. Phoenix area Whole Food stores, by the way, it's not just Phoenix area. Phoenix area Whole Foods are using the technology. Imagine not needing cash, card, or your phone to pay, only your hand. It's called palm recognition technology. And the whole method of payment is already here at every Whole Foods in the Valley. As far as handprint scanning and other biometrics like eye scanning, it's definitely the way of the future. Well, we know that's where it's really going. It just makes the transition out of the grocery store a lot faster. Oh, yes, that's right. We are just in such a hurry. We've got to get our digital IDs. We've got to get our hand and our iris and our fingerprint scanned to buy groceries. Right? Wrong. We want to stay as anonymous as possible. And I might add, it's near impossible these days. It makes the transition out of the grocery store a lot faster. It's a little scary, they say. Yes, it is. These people obviously have not read Revelation 13, or they wouldn't be talking this way. This is someone that doesn't understand what's going on. It's a little scary. I love technology, so I decided to check it out. Next person says, well, I don't feel comfortable. It's just grocery shopping. Why would you scan your finger or eyes or anything to buy groceries? Good point. Because it's a step to the point to where no one will buy or sell save he had the mark on the name of the beast or the number of his name. Next guy says, it freaks me out. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to do it, maybe sometime for convenience, but it still freaks me out. If they'd read Revelation 13, verse 15, they'd say, no way. Absolutely no way. I'll starve, but I ain't taking that. Because I know that is coming for this year. The mark is next year or the next year. It's coming. It's a step in that direction. Now, I would suggest you go to prophecyclub.com and get this book. Matter of fact, I was just told by the office we're selling so many of them, we have to go and print some more of them. But it's called Miss the Bark. Now, let me explain the difference between this and Secret Door. Secret Door it's not complicated, but it's deep. It's explaining all of Bible prophecy. It answers, for the prophecy student that wants to know, it is your Bible, so to speak. But this one is simple. This is easy to read. It takes you 3 hours to read it. You can hand this to someone that's not even a Christian. Maybe they even worship another god, a false god or something. But if they'll read the first page or two, they'll read the whole thing. They read the whole thing, they will never take that mark of the beast. This is well-worded, easy to read, and it's designed to hand to anybody, so they will not take that mark of the beast. Also, I talked about this one last week. You got to have this book, because this is Dimitri Duduman's testimony, all of his dreams and visions, Terry Bennett, Maurice Sklar, Augusto Perez, Doug Metzger, Bree Keaton, Shane Warren, Leslie Johnson, Henry Greer, Michael, all of these guys, all of their dreams, well, almost all of their dreams and visions, that is up until the point we printed it. You want this by your bedside so you can flip and say, okay, now, whoa, what was said there? See, like right now, I'll have people email me and say, wait a minute, what was that? Didn't you say this and such? See, they don't have this book. There's going to come a time where either the internet is down or you can't have access to it, or maybe the electricity is totally off. You want a hard copy of these prophecies so you can flip through them, pull up a friend and say, Mom, there it is. You see that right there? That's proof. This was told to us 15 years ago, 20 years ago. It's going to be some good soul winning stuff. Also, this is, in my opinion, the very best deal we've ever offered at the Prophecy Club. This is, you get 10 How Pre-Trib one, which is explaining There's not going to be a pre-trib rapture. Answers all the questions about it. This is explaining the parts of Daniel that you need to know as a tribulation saint. This is the book I just talked about. This is the book I talked about. And this is me explaining prophecy. Now, you get 10 of these, 10 of these, 5 of these, 10 of these, 5 of these, or a total of 40 books valued at, I forget, what is it, a couple $100. But you can get all of them for $100. That's one set of each. 40 books for $100. Last time I checked, I don't care who you're getting books from, that's a good deal. Why? Because we want you to have one copy, but we want you to be able to hand them out to your friends. Look, the objective is not for us to understand alone. The objective is for us to be a watchman, a soul winner, to be able to explain to someone else. And I'm telling you, there's going to be a time you are going to want to have a copy of that book. One of these books, you will want to have a copy of it. And you'll go, oh man, I need to have another copy. prophecyclub.com. What is wrong with this? You say, well, it's a piece of bread. You're right. It's a piece of bread I took out of this loaf. This loaf is a 1 pound loaf, and there's something missing from this bread. Even though it says it is whole wheat, there's still something missing from this and almost all of the bread you're eating. See, the story was in 1860, the smart humans decided that they were going to outstrip God and that they could figure out a way to where the flour would not spoil, because once you break the wheat berry, then it begins to spoil, and in 7 to 10 days, it's got mold. So they figured out how they could be smarter than God. We're going to take out the outside shell and then the wheat germ. We're only going to use the white powder part of the wheat. And that doesn't spoil. And they're right. You can put it in a bag. 5 years later, it's still there. But then, of course, there's something else they removed. And that is most. Now, not all, but most of the nutrition. So then they had to pass all of these laws saying you got to put niacin, you got to put vitamins, you got to do this, put all of this into the... So why not just use what God made? So the difference between this and what I made is this. That's the difference in my bread, whole wheat bread, versus what you buy in the store. The bigger slice here, this is actually cherry, cinnamon, honey, and vanilla mixed together. And I made this. So when you make your own homemade bread, you can make it flavor any way. You want jalapeno, you got it. You want to have seeds, sesame seeds, however you want to, you can make it. But the big advantage to making your own whole wheat bread is that it's probably the cheapest way to have long-term storage food, because most of your long-term storage food companies cost $9,000 to $10,000 per person per year. But at Joseph's Kitchen, they can show you how to feed your family for about $1,000 per person per year, and it's whole wheat. Okay, so what is whole wheat over the regular wheat? Well, you remember the 7 years of plenty followed by the 7 years of famine of Joseph and the Pharaoh. Well, that meant that the whole world lived off of wheat for 7 years. Now, I don't think that maybe Jesus said, man should not live by bread alone, meaning you should have other things that you should eat. However, about the closest thing out there that'll feed you not only good tasting, but also nutrition for your body is wheat. And so we recommend you go to josephskitchen.com. When you go there, you got to get 2 things. One is you have to get a machine package. That's the items that you need to actually physically make the bread. It's a wheat grinder where you put the wheat in. 30 seconds later, you have flour. You put it into a bread machine with 6 other ingredients. Push a button, 2 hours, 20 minutes later, you have a nice, hot, steaming loaf of wonderful, that you made, whole wheat bread. Slice that up. The slicer's even included. The beakers, everything. It's everything you need to make bread. Then you decide how much food you want to have. You want to have food for 6 people 1 year, 4 people 1 year, 2 people 1 year. You place your order, and they have it in stock. Because most of these long-term storage food places, they're out. Some of them are 2 or 3 months. Some of them are even longer behind in filling their orders. But at Joseph's Kitchen, they can ship within 2 or 3 days. And they ship around the world. go to josephskitchen.com. I'm telling you that the prophecies say there's about to be a food shortage, and if you want to listen to what God's trying to warn us about, then you'll get this long-term storage food. Terry Saka, Cornerstone, assetmetals.com. So why should people go online or call you today?
Seymour Hersh, an amazing investigative journalist, laid out the case that the United States is the one that blew up the Nord Stream pipelines, hurting our very own allies. That is a nation that is desperate because their currency is on the verge of losing reserve status. That's not good for a United States dollar, and why we better be protected.
Terry Saka, Cornerstone, assetmetals.com. Give him a call or go online today. Cornerstone, assetmetals.com. I am having another Level 2. Level 2 School of the Watchmen's Conference, and I'm calling this a teacher's course. It's going to be September 15 and 16. You can go to prophecyclub.com, and it'll tell you all of the details about it. And it gives you all of the requirements. I'll let you read that online. However, the big question is, you're going to be saying, well, what's the difference between Level 1 and Level 2? Well, lots. Level 1 was primarily reading through most of the book of Revelation and teaching it. That's not be Level 2. Yes, we will do some reading, but this one is designed to make you a teacher of Bible prophecy, which, by the way, our office wants to know if you went through Level 1 and if you have taught or have been invited to teach from the book of Revelation and you went through Level 1, send me an email. I'd like to know that. I know there's been at least one. I think there's two, maybe more. Anyway, I'd like to know. So Level 2 is to teach you to the point to where you can be qualified to actually teach the book of Revelation. Now, I can tell you right up front, we're going to have a Level 3, God willing. And in that one, I'm going to require people to memorize the book of Revelation to come to Level 3. And so there's going to be 1 year's difference between Level 2 and Level 3. It took me a year to memorize it, so I figure it'll take you a year to memorize it. Some of you may even faster. So go to prophecyclub.com, and it'll give you all the details, tells you all about some of the difficult questions and things like that we're going to cover in Level 2. Level 2 is going to get you real close to being a qualified teacher of Revelation. But by the time you get through Level 3, having memorized the book, pastor's going to listen to you. And that's where we're going with this. Also, I'd recommend you go and get yourself a Berkey water filter. And yes, we do have Berkeys all in stock now. Also, we have potassium iodate pills, which are what you take inside of once a radioactive unit has happened in your area. As far as Berkey water filters, this is one thing you want to be sure to do is get some extra filters. This is the minimum most people will get is this one right here. I get the Crown Berkey right here. This is the one I have, this one I use. And I have about 8 extra filters with me too, because if you're using clean water, they'll last a year or two. But if you're using rainwater or muddy water, then they clog up a whole lot faster. So you want to have some extra filters. Next is, I'll send you to EMPShield.com. If you use the promo word prophecy, you get a $50 discount. What is that? Well, it looks like this. This is the one that goes into a car, okay? And you put the red wire to the red side of the battery, you put the black wire to the black side of the battery, and the green one attaches to the body of the car. Then you peel it off right back here. Just peel that off, stick it inside of the engine compartment of your car. And the whole point is when the electricity goes off or when some kind of a suitcase nuclear device goes off, this is supposed to be able to stop that device from destroying every computer chip in your car. Because if every computer chip is destroyed in your car these days, you couldn't possibly replace them all. Throw the car away. So, EMPShield.com, promo code PROPHECY.